YKTR Sports Nation, welcome back to the greatest podcast in the world. Joined as always by Skipper Scoped, 0-7 on the weekend, and Vintage Jackson, aka Producer Jackson, aka City Boy as well. Before we get into this podcast, Steady Freddy, use our code to get 15% off YKTR15 for a better fucking world. Guys, premature ejaculation happens to 1 in 3 guys, which means it's be happening to one of us here on this panel, maybe all 3. We like to overachieve around here as well. Steady Freddy is a doctor formulated delay spray that helps guys last longer in bed. Look, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It happens to everyone as well, but you don't want to be coming first in the bedroom, only on the field, only in the betting slips, only in the poker room as well. Use our code YKTR15, YKTR15 for 15% off your first order. That's at steadyfreddy.com. Use our code YKTR15. All right, boys, we're back. Skip, what's been happening? How you been?
Good. Apart from the Anytime Jam, good footy, plenty happening. I like this time of the year. You were talking a little bit off air. You'd probably like the season shortened, but warming into some really big games. So I'm really excited. Some good footy on the weekend. Some really intriguing games for teams that potentially could make it harder for other teams, which I love that.
You love that?
I've been on one of those teams at points, and it's I
wouldn't mind a shorter season. Like, I reckon 20 rounds is right about right. You can cut it right in half for rep round and all that origin stuff as well. I just think these last couple of rounds are starting to drag out, and probably feeling sorry for teams like the Warriors as well, who, like, the season's done, you're not going to make it, so see you later. Jackson, how you been, bro? What's been happening?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've fresh off a Newcastle weekend, so I'm recharged. I'm feeling good.
Grass and a few Reds going well, wasn't it?
Grass and a few Reds is going well. We had the old crew back together. Chico was back in yesterday, so it was good fun, and yeah, Simi's back in his bag, so it's going to be a good one this week, I think.
All right, cool. All right, set of 6. Let's roll straight into it, Jacko.
All right, let's go. Obviously, the biggest topic this week, boys. Probably a good thing that we do this show a little bit later in the week because we've got all the facts now, Skip.
Yep.
Ricky Stuart, if you've been living under a rock and missed it, came out with one of the all-time sprays in his post-match press conference over the weekend and had a direct crack at young Salmon from the Penrith Panthers.
Who,
Teriyaki, with the gutter dog comment. Anyway, what's subsequently come out, obviously he has been sanctioned, he's been fined, he's also been suspended, which is unprecidented. No coach has ever been suspended.
What does that mean? So he can't be in the box this week?
Nothing all week.
From 4 p.m. yesterday, he can't have any even remote involvement with the team. So Ricky Stuart will have nothing to do with the team, certainly not on game day, but nothing to do until Wednesday next week.
Oh, cool.
So it rolls into, it's a 7-day suspension. So
do we have the full details on everything that's happened behind the scenes, or is it still up in the air?
Chinese whispers.
Plenty of Chinese whispers in terms of their direct sort of pass together. But Scope, I'll throw to you to kind of get your reaction off the jump. But just for a bit of context, the rumor mill has been that the NRL has been looking into suspending refs coaches for a while because the fine system doesn't seem to work. The repeat offenders, obviously, Robbo, Ricky, Desi, those sort of guys.
Don't say Robbo.
Can't say Robbo around
Don't
ice.
say Robbo.
I would suggest now that
you can't bring up the Roosters around ice. He's been on them for 6 months.
Day one, man. Tragic. I'm tragic.
The floodgates now, it would appear that suspending coaches is now probably going to become part of the game. So Skip, your reaction to Ricky and then roll on.
Oh, well, the Skip didn't say that 3 weeks ago about with regards to Brandon Smith when he got suspended for 3 games. All right, let's talk about, because there's been a lot of talk about the rumours, which we'll get to, and we've heard certain rumours as well. And I'll let you know the Chinese whispers that I've heard as well. I think it's sort of been out there, but straight off the bat, sticky 1 game, unprecedented. I like it.
So
1 week. 1 week. I think it's right. He was out of line, despite whatever the rumours are, and if they are true, that it's shit, it's an ugly story. I think Gus said it. I seen him comment on it a little bit on the NRL 9 app, talking about it's going to do no one any good
if the story comes out.
So it must be pretty ugly. But also, you take in consideration, you go back to it like he's a 12-year-old kid, I believe, at the time when he was probably not being a salmon, maybe being a lemon as a kid, but Ricky's way too experienced to say that. He's been renowned to lose his shit a number of occasions, and I think the NRL got it right, and I think they had to act pretty quickly, a couple of days to get it done, take everything into consideration. 1 game is right. If he's to do it again, I doubt he would do it again, actually, because this is unprecedented.
It's Ricky, man. It's Ricky. He'll say what he wants.
Yeah. So I'll give you, after you have a little bit of a chat on it, I'll give my views on my experience with sticks.
Yep.
And
like obviously, like at the front of everything, he's still a dad first, and to let it linger over this period of time. He is a professional coach. He's been in this game for such a long time that those comments never should have come out. But then when you start to hear the other sides of the story, you can see why he's frustrated, but he should never let it get that involved in the professional standpoint as well. And obviously, seeing all the MG comments as well off the back of Paul Kent. So, like, rugby league, there's always sort of drama happening, and obviously
reality TV show.
Yeah, it is one of the greatest reality TV shows there is as well. So yeah, obviously he didn't say the right things, and being a professional coach, you can't be saying that shit, especially in front of press conferences. And it just makes it look worse after a loss because he just looks like he's sulking as well.
It did look like sour grapes because they got outplayed in a game that they should have been in.
Simply outplayed as well. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't like. We've heard both sides of the stories, and we can see both sides as well. So, what's your opinion on?
So the two things is like I've been coached, and I say coach very loosely. I got to spend some time under sticks in the under 20s and did some part-time training. I know like sticks is hard work, especially if you're not the guy. Like if you're not the guys in the team, he's like I shit myself as a kid being under sticks, and I know like he's very emotional. He wears his heart on his sleeve. There's a part of that I really love because you just know
where you stand.
Well, you know where you stand. You've got to earn his respect. He's one of those sorts of guys, and he's so passionate, man. Like if you're the front office of the Canberra Raiders and you don't think winning a game of footy means anything to stick, like he shows it every single minute of every game. He's on the sideline. He just wants to win. He's competitive. He's been at the highest of highs coaching. He's been at the highest of highs playing. But he has that experience of fucking breaking players down in the past. Like when I was at the Roosters, I think it's a famous story. I think Sowie even said on my pod, like he fucking broke Sowie. He broke Blake Green. Like he's been into players and so I take that in consideration too with the rumours surrounded around teriyaki salmon, Jamin salmon. Straight off the bat, you don't like to, the old saying, you don't judge a book by its cover, but I'm going to do it. When I look at teriyaki salmon, I reckon he's got a bit of shit in him. And that's joking aside, but he just looks like, from all the rumours, I've had people that have sort of, known him as a kid. He was a shit kid. He might have been a shit kid back in the day, but fuck, man, like at 12 years old, I did some things that I regret as a kid. Like, I could have been a bit nicer to people at school. I watch it now, you've seen it. I remember things that stood out for me when I was just doing coaching clinics and the way that kids treat each other just in coaching clinics. You see like a kid push each other, like push one of them out of the way. And you'd like to hope that most people mature. As they get mature, they realise that they make mistakes, Sure. So hopefully, and all reports are from the boys that are at Penrith and
he's a good
Ivan.
lad. I've met him.
Yeah, everyone seems to be speaking glowingly about him now. He might have been a lemon when he was a kid, right?
There's a few rat bags in footy as a kid.
Yeah, exactly. So, if the rumour that I'd heard, and this is, like I said, Chinese whispers, and everyone wants to know, and they're throwing it about. If you can sort of understand where Sticks is coming from, because it's a very
sensitive topic,
topic, and if that's the truth, then you can understand where Ricky's coming from. And he almost just said that he probably didn't deal with it right. Like Gus said, in the chat that he had with him, he never dealt with it properly. So then once his name come up and he just fucking lost his shit. So you can understand it. But all that considered, he still shouldn't have said what he said. And he deserved the one game. I think NRL got it right, one game. And then
I think even
because it's important too for Canberra Raiders. They needed to win that game against Penrith because they've got a soft run. And if they drop this game against the Dragons, who are going to be it's going to be a shit fight in Dragons game, which we'll get to. This could be crucial. If they drop a game because, just there's no direction, it's a bit of a distraction. It's a bit like Manly 2 weeks ago where it just derails them, the way that they were trending. it could be very critical for the Canberra Raiders this year.
And the hard thing is because like we're hearing Chinese whispers and it's starting to linger out and everyone's just sort of making speculations.
Yeah.
It's hard to formulate a calculated opinion on these types of things as well. So we can understand where Sticky's coming from. We can understand like we've all grown up as men over time and things we've done in the past as kids are obviously not right, and we've hopefully matured from all those as well. So it's almost one of those things where just sort of draw the line in the sand and go, this is it. I think the sanctions, right? The first time coach has been suspended, I think that's fair, and it will probably set a precedent for moving forward as well.
You know, a big thing to like, there's a genuine case for like people have been talking about. There's like a defamation case for Salmon. Like he could have
100%.
potentially he could take.
Can we sue for defamation in Australia?
You can take it further. He could potentially take it further.
But if he's done that stuff as a kid, I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. So that's if the reports are true to, you know, how much of a shit cunt he might have been when he was a kid and some of the shit things that he did, he might be the same. He might be going, fuck, one game, got suspended. He's happy with it. He might have been a fucking lemon when he was a kid. He's now grown up, matured, realised Sticks had an outburst, and he probably hasn't handled it as best he could.
If you're in Salmon's shoes, and I don't know how old is he, 22, 23
I think he's 22, 23.
Do you go over and go apologise to would you do that personally? I think I would if I knew, or do you just leave the past as the past, or
if the rumor that we'd heard, and I hate to do this because we're in content as well, but I don't like to. I wouldn't want to repeat it because the rumor that I heard is not great.
Yeah.
If I was Salmon and I'd grown up and matured a little bit and I'd done maybe a shit thing as a kid, probably
that would mean a lot to like Ricky now. I reckon.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? So
for sure.
Who knows? Ricky might just be ruthless and go fuck it. But yeah, I don't know. Well, we're only speculating on rumors, and I know all you guys in the comments can just formulate your own opinions as well, sort of stuff like that as well. But the interesting part from it is obviously Paul Kent and Sticky are boys, and like you see Paul Kent's happy to throw people underneath the bus, but he's sort of stuck up for the situation. And off the long tail of that, brought MG's family into it as well.
Yeah.
Which is probably one guy you wouldn't want to fuck with, in my opinion as well. So what's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, MG. Yeah, you just don't go. Just let MG be MG. But yeah, look, this is the
and it's not even the fact that he's
this is the
ruthless.
hypocrisy of guys like Kenny and that again, right? So it's not. Actually, it is what you know because he's probably found out what the story is. But it's who you know. You know, like Kenty. They're in a position of
power because they're in media, and a lot of people watch TV and use that show, and they can manipulate that power. But then sometimes I'll just say things wrong, and this is kind of the part where you should never bring families into it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially from
that's the code. That's the media code, isn't it?
A person who's not involved really in the situation. MG was clearly just commenting on what Sticky had said and hadn't brought anything else into it, which I think a lot of us should do, right?
Yeah.
Like someone was a shit cunt to me, 12 years ago, and then you end up to anyone else. Like
someone did something shit. I'll put it in this way, Ice. If someone had done something as egregious as what you guys are hearing to you 12 years ago, and then you had seen them out on the street do something horrible in the public eye, you would not jump on a podcast and start saying all this horrible stuff about them. I think the thing that rubbed me the wrong way about it was the forum. If you had heard the story that Ricky Stuart went into the tunnel after the game and cornered Salmon and sprayed him and called him all this stuff, we'd probably be on here having a laugh saying that's stick for you know what I mean? But to go
you shouldn't be able to do that as well.
But I'm saying to go on a press conference like that and attack him like that, unfortunately what I think it's done now is it's painted a narrative about Salmon. I didn't know anything about him, and now because of the power dynamic, Ricky Stuart's been in the game for 40 years. He's the guy that everyone is going to believe, true or not, whatever you are hearing, versus a 23-year-old guy who's not established in footy yet in Salmon. Now, the only thing I know about Salmon is that he plays a bit of 5'8", comes off the bench, and he's done something bad to Ricky's family in the past. Yeah. And that's where I think the Salmon family are coming out saying, listen, A, he's had nothing to do with our boy since he was 12 years old, and B, this has got nothing to do with him kicking out at Starling.
Yeah,
you know what
clearly
I mean?
And there wasn't even much in that incident for me either.
No way in the world.
That's an incidental contact.
Again, judging books by the cover, you can see he's got a bit of shit in him, Teriyaki. Like he's got a little bit of shit, and there's like you're in that position. He could, sometimes you can see, sometimes you can't. I'm not saying that he definitely lashed out, but there wasn't much in it. Like you get hit in the little Frodo Baggins, it's going to drop you. But
stings to see as a bloke though, getting hit in the nuts.
Yeah, it does.
One of the
big
most
time.
painful things to look at.
I just think the biggest part is the power dynamic. When a guy like Ricky is taking, we always say punching down is the term these days.
Yeah.
That was punching way down at a guy who I thought it was just completely uncalled for. And I think the 1 game suspension is right. I think the personal fine, it's not a club fine, so Ricky's got to cop that himself.
Yep.
Is right. I honestly wouldn't have been that offered if it was a longer suspension and a bigger fine, to be honest. I thought it was pretty rough.
And then
I was thinking
the silence. I think the silence has been deafening as well. And like you said, like Jamin Sammer's not established and he's a 23-year-old kid. Oh, like he's not a kid anymore, but like because nothing has really come past
He's a
those
kid in
certain
comparison
rumors.
to Ricky.
Yeah, agree as well. So, but like because nothing else has been said, it allows places like media and we're a part of media now just to speculate, and we're only going off the back of rumors as well. So, it's one of those confusing ones, and one you didn't expect to think you'd be talking about in rugby league, and here we are. It is confusing. The Kenyan MG stuff I just found, like, as two media people, I just sort of found that quite interesting.
I was talking to Scope.
It's just entertaining.
It is entertaining.
They brought it up on 360 last night, and then like as they were sort of rolling off the segment, Braith made a comment about like, you get on the ring with MG, ha ha ha, and then like Kenty as the segment's
Do you reckon
rolling
Kenty
off,
would think he would back himself?
Bro, this is what I'm saying. As the segment's rolling off, he like sort of goes under his breath and he goes, "You'll see what happens." Shut the fuck
Please
up.
fucking stop.
He like leans on one armchair.
Yeah.
Like oh, bro, giggle. All right,
But
yeah.
and also he does his job well, man. Kenty, like,
Yeah,
he's there.
he's entertaining.
He's there to create headlines, and we're always talking about him. And the more we talk about him, the bigger he gets as well.
Yeah.
And I heard Rogan and that talking about this on their podcast, and they go, the more you try and like counsel someone, the bigger you actually make him as well.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with Kenty. He does his job well. Hate it or love it, he's good at what he does.
Speaking of people being good at what they do, Sammy Walker, your boy Ice, has been pretty good at what he's doing. The Vision over the weekend was copping a bit of a spray from 2 senior members in Victor Radley and JWH. Do you love it or hate it? What did you make of the boys spraying Sammy Walker?
Love it. And maybe me and Scope are a little bit old school because we come through that era where like I used to get sprayed all the time, bro. And it sets you up for a very good, like, it just teaches you discipline. If you don't have like a big brother or dad figure that can hold you in line, sometimes when you're young and you get thrown money at you and you go to a glamour club like the Roosters and you're wonderfully talented and you come from a rugby league background family that like a lot of things get handed to you. And I know he's worked hard for it, but sometimes you just want them OGs to keep you in line. And Jared's an OG. And the part I like about this is Radley was a part of that as well. There were sort of questions around his leadership capabilities a year and a half ago. And Scopes talked about this numerous times where Boydie Cordner and that have got him in and go like, you're the next guy to take this club to the next level. So I really enjoyed seeing that. I know a lot of people don't like it, but we're in a space now where there's a lot of access to games in terms of microphones and sort of stuff like that. You can't pick and choose. You can't go, we want full access. And once you see something on the field and you're just a casual fan, you're going, I don't like that. I don't like that shit. So I enjoyed seeing it. I think it's a sign of leadership, and that's a club, and that's something that I wish a lot of clubs thought they had, or wish they had. Sorry,
fucking oath they do.
They wish they had a Jared. They wish they had a Bradley to pull these young boys in line as well. Look at a club like the Titans, wonderfully talented. Got a guy like Tino just busting his ass, but the dude's 22, 23, carrying those boys as well.
I'd love to see Tino spray someone in that fucking
So he's too nice.
Yeah.
He's too nice. And he puts it all onto his shoulders, and that shit's going to get draining after a couple of years. A couple OGs, keeping a young, talented kid in line. I fucking love it.
I love it also because I've talked about it a number of occasions. I used to play for a team called Manly. I don't know if I've said this before on the podcast.
It's been a
Not on this
podcast.
podcast.
But during that tenure, I come from, again, and in my experience, Tino sort of reminded me a little bit of Hindy, like during the time at Parramatta. Sometimes,
Too nice.
I think Hindy was at the end of his career as a skipper. We weren't travelling well for a couple of years. He sort of was just a bit, I don't know, like I did from our leadership at Parramatta, there was a clear difference when I went to Manly. Like the team was run by, and this is respectfully to Twos, like it didn't bother me in the slightest, really, what Twos would say. Like I was more worried about, what the boys thought of me, the senior boys thought of me, and we sort of always bought into that culture. And Robbo said it with regards to, Jared's coached more games.
Coach as many players as I have.
As many players as he has throughout his career. So I love it. But it all depends on Sammy Walker as well.
How he takes it?
By the way, yeah. And he's got like you said, the bit that you mentioned about Radley I think is really important because maybe he was fucking having a little chirp back, which I loved Radley then coming in and reinforcing. I could be wrong because you can't see Sammy Walker talking. You can just see Jared into him, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and then Rads turns around and has a spray too. So did Sammy say something back? Not trying to create anything, but I'm just saying he's got to be able to take it on board, because this is what I've been saying about the Roosters' eyes too. Like, is there a little bit of clunkiness that I sort of see out of them? You message me and you go, after the Broncos game, and you go, this is like where we're on.
I said we're trending the right way.
I go, there's something still just a little bit off. So at the moment, I think it's all about Sammy Walker's got all the talent in the world. He sets up that try for Butcher, nearly scores one himself early on. There's a system. You can see there's some sort of system there at the Roosters. It's just that he's got to pick his moments of being an independent contractor, as they call him sometimes, where that's why he's such a special kid, because he can do shit that, even some of the best. He reminds me a little bit of a young Ches in that sense, where, like we had such a strong system, but Ches, the beauty of Ches, even as a youngster, he picked his moments really well of when he could, because he just played off the cuff, and you could see he wanted to play it so much more than what he did, but he really bought into the system, and he had really good senior players around him, and that's why they won a comp before I'd got there. We got to a grand final in 2013, and he was even able to turn it on when things weren't happening for us. He was able to flick a switch, and then he had it in him. I think Sammy's just got to find that part of his game where shit was happening for him in the first 20 minutes, and then he just got a bit maybe too carried away, and the old boys turned around and said,
enough's enough.
See that? Playing direct, fucking get into the end of the set. That's how we fucking do it.
They were trying to get there the play before, and it looked
put one dead.
Yeah. So I think that was the root of the spray. Was they had that look, liked it.
Yeah.
Sammy Walker went a bit rogue, and then when it went back there, it was more of like a see fucking listen sort of vibe.
I had one of my best mates in here yesterday, Benji Marshall, and he talked about when he come through as well. He said the same thing. Like, he was the type of player that wasn't afraid to play football. But the best thing, he goes, if I didn't have Tim Sheens as my coach that was allow me to play football, I wouldn't have been the player that I was as well. So there's always a healthy balance. Different time then. When he said he was playing, he was still going to school all the way up till Thursday and finishing it and coming out. So, like, there's a balance there because the game's got so much more professional and so much more defense orientated. There's numbers, there's kick goals and all kick targets and all those fucking shit as well. But there's a nice sort of balance there somewhere. And I do like like we said before, you got Jared, 32, 33 years old, Victor Radley, 25, and then Thing, 20. There's that nice little bracket there where, like you said, he maybe had a crack at Jared, and then the next guy who's in line put him in as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, I love it. It's good for you.
You've got to find the balance. And this,
accountability is always good.
Yeah. I like they want to see Sammy play footy, but they just got to know when things are flowing. Like, they were well and truly on top of the Broncos and dominating them. The only way the Broncos could have got back in that game was with a little bit of fucking willy-nilly-ness. Like if he just put a couple of dead 7 tackle sets, because physically, and this is what Jared was probably getting frustrated with.
We got him here.
They were dominating them. Sometimes, we talk about it a little bit. Read the room, read the team. Like, what sort of team are you playing? Do we have these guys? Can we? And that's the next step that the Roosters have to take. In years past, you look at a Roosters team when they've had the Broncos in a position like that, they go on and they win 30-6. Fucking 36-10. Matt, like. Just let him come in back and those little 7 tackle sets, bang, they go down, Corey Oates scores in the corner. Just little things like that, and you get in the end goals and go,
when you're young,
we're fucking on top of these guys, right? This is what middles do. They get in the middle and they go, how the fuck did they score? We're dominating these guys, and that's the frustration, and that's what Sammy Walker's got to learn. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah, because when you're a young half, sometimes you get bored as well. Like, that was dominating through, and it's like when you're a purist and you get older, you're happy to win games in that 75th minute. Yeah. You don't give a fuck. But it was just so obvious how much the Roosters boys were going through them as well. And sometimes when you're a young half, man, you just want to whack in a chip and chase every now and then. So
it opens up. Like, it's fast. You're playing fast. There's retreat in line.
It's like a game of touch.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
So he'll learn.
He'll learn.
Yeah, we love Sammy Walker. All right, let's roll into a bit of signing news. The fake ice, Isaiah Papalii.
Better
the big
than me.
storyline this week. Skip, we'll start with you here.
He earned his Kiwis jersey.
Ooh.
Hey, mate, don't poke the bear.
Plenty in that.
Don't poke
There's
the
plenty
bear.
in that.
Don't double fucking comment me on the YKTR Sports.
That was Lukey. That wasn't me.
The Bradbury comment got me. Let's talk Isaiah Papalii on the fence. So we will get to Sammy Vera to the Titans. So shout out Sammy Vera and
Some good ones. Yeah.
Some good ones. But let's start with Isaiah Papalii. He's the big one here, Skip.
Yeah.
Reportedly, umming and ahhing. It's kind of been murmured for about the last, I'd say, 8 weeks. But reportedly murmuring that he will be flipping on that Tigers deal in favour of staying at Parramatta, or the late push, the Warriors having another little look at him. So, and that's not from me.
I wouldn't go to the Warriors just purely out of ego.
Yeah, but
Like, you got rid of me. Like,
well, it was a Stephen Kearney thing. Anyway,
What, you being petty?
what do you make of the
Eddie Pettyborn.
I was thinking it just before you said it too.
Speaking of Warriors greats, Pettyborn. Let's go Isaiah Papalii.
He didn't play for the
Do you know
Warriors.
what's important? And I thought about this a little bit, and he's been getting hammered because
he stay or should he go,
he
Skip?
mentioned the part about being coached by Madge. And here's why it's important. And again, an experience that I went through, and this is why I'm always players first when it comes in these situations. Like contracts, people were talking about, contracts should mean something. Contracts don't mean anything when it's on the other side. And my example is, and I think you've probably heard this before, in 2010 was my debut year. I had a fairly good season. I really got along with Daniel Anderson. He re-signed me for 3 years at the end of the year.
The rookie of the year. Of course he did.
Rookie of the year, Parramatta Eels. The best that never was. Anyway, so but like I got along with Ando. Ando understood. I felt like he understood my game. He'd watched me play for 2 years before he debuted me as well. So he had a good feel for me. We had a plan. We in the off season we sat down. He viewed me as a long-term edge back role for the team because eventually Folletti was going to move on. Folletti ended up going to the Wires the next year, and they must have been looking.
Great signing from the Wires.
Yeah, you keep the Skip at 200, and then you obviously because you're trying to balance out the sheet, right? So all this shit plays into consideration. Anyway, he gets sacked like I think 4 weeks after I re-signed. Stephen Kearney comes in. Stephen Kearney doesn't view me the same way that Daniel Anderson did when he signed me on a 3-year deal. So started off all right with Kearney, had to earn his respect again, which is fine. Again, like we're footy players, this is the circle way things go. Anyway, by round 10, I'm playing centres for 6 to 7 games when I was signed as a back rower, and I'm still trying to find my way as a back rower. Like that's an example of shit that happens. And then I'll get you to give the Braith example that he talked about on 360 after this, Jacko. Anyway, so that year up and down, obviously Mooks doesn't view me as a long-term answer. I play round 1 the next year in 2012, and I'm dropped, and I don't come back in until maybe I play one odd game, and then it's not until Brad Arthur comes in as interim coach that I'm back in the team to finish off the year. And then Stephen Kearney gets sacked. So Sticks comes in straight off the bat before that big
Whiteboard thing.
whiteboard 13 players. I was the one before the whiteboard. Like I was the one he was adamant in.
Skip, you didn't make the board.
Like I said, me and Sticks, I was in the under-20s. Like Sticks wasn't a fan of me. So he was straight off the bat. He's like, and it's a blessing in disguise now. I'm actually fucking stoked because it ended up working out well for me. But I had a 3-year deal, and it was obviously all the clubs backload him. So yeah, I don't mind. Fuck it. I was on 140, 160 the second year, and I was about to get maybe 250. No, definitely maybe 220 on the third year in 2013. Sticks went, nah, we're not paying you that. Like you're not a part of our plan. So he goes, you can either play reserve grade. This is through management, obviously. Yeah. And this is not attack on Sticks. This just happens. This is the other example of like what can happen.
Footy, yeah.
And Isaiah Papalii, again, straight off the bat, I'm going to tell you everything that's involved. Isaiah Papalii's a way better player than me, but this is just an example of why when you start going, contracts don't mean anything to these players. This is the other side of it. So then Sticks goes, you're not going to play, so if you just want to play the year in reserve grade, and then your value is going to go down.
Yeah.
So you know what I end up leaving for? Out of the 220, I got a 25k payout from Parramatta when I had that on my contract. And I don't think Parramatta Eels fans or fans of other clubs are going, oh, poor Justin Hiro, because I wasn't the skip at that time as well, right? I developed the skip as it went on to Manly. Oh, poor Justin Hiro. Geez, I feel bad for him. Not one fucking member or anything would have said that about a player like myself. So that's the other end of it. Like that's why, you know, when he comes out, when you see a guy like Isaiah Papalii come out and go, you know, I was going there for Madge because, you know, Madge sold me on a plan and he's not there.
He's the Kiwis coach too. There was a lot of parallels.
There's so many
Benji's going.
There's so many factors, yeah. Like, and it would excite me. Again, it would excite me if I was Isaiah Papalii going to the Tigers now with Benji a part of it. But
I'd rather play for Benji than Madge.
those are the dynamics that happen with players and coaches. When people look at it and go, I've seen heaps, pretty much the majority of the comments when I was looking at a comment section when he was talking about Madge was like, he's just using that as an excuse. That's it. That's my experience of why it's not an excuse.
Very similar to you, Scope. So when Ivan was at the Warriors, when we all went to grand finals in 11, like they tried to push me out 3 extra years, and I was saying like, Jimmy hadn't really kicked on then, like we're going to push for you and Sean to be the halves over the coming years as well. And it happened with Penrith as well. But then next, like he signs at Penrith, Bluey McLennan comes in, we go a week before our grand final, he takes me out for a coffee, he goes, I just don't see you playing first grade here right now, you should go to the Super League. Next week I signed at Wakefield as well. But very similar, like sometimes you're in a long-term plan with the coach, sometimes when you leave to other clubs, you buy into their future or their vision of it, and you just don't really hear about that because a lot of the times
no one cares.
No one cares, but two, a lot of times the management go, this stays between us.
Yep.
If you walk into a room with Gus Gould and into an office and he goes, this doesn't leave the office, you could potentially fuck up your future. Or especially if you've got rep ambitions in terms of...
Yeah, because
like,
players can't say
there's dudes with power in this fucking game. Yeah. And when you're young and you're an Islander kid or like, and you're not used to those types of negotiations or confrontations, those things are fucking intimidating.
I think Scope touched on Braith's example. He gave a good one because it happens.
Braith's a better example because it's more... Braith
is with the Tigers. So Braith spoke about how when he signed with the Tigers, he signed to play under Tim Sheens. And he had sat with Tim and they'd had a proper plan about what Braith's role was going to be at the Tigers as a half, as a leader, and how they were going to play their footy. 4 days later, they sacked Tim Sheens. And he goes, it was round 6 and I was playing back row and taking hit-ups off taps. Like it just completely changed. So he honoured the contract, but he goes, if I had my time again, I would have said, no, I signed with Tim Sheens. I'm not going to honour this contract. So
100%.
And it happens and even in business eyes, like if you were to be hired by a company and a boss says this is going to be your role, and then the company goes through a restructure before you start, and all of a sudden you go from being head of content marketing, you roll into a sales role, like
not what you signed me for, eh?
Yeah, that's not what I put pen to paper for. So I think with Papalii, the caveat is people say he only wants to stay at Parramatta now because they're going well and the Tigers are going shit. Well, the Warriors is the 11th hour one, which comes in and says maybe he wants to go home or whatever. But regardless of what the situation is, I think Scope's right. The circumstance under which he put pen to paper have changed. I think he's well within his rights to at least say, hang on a second, let me think about this, because there's no honour amongst these. If it was the other shoe on the other foot and there was a club decision,
exactly,
they wouldn't give a fuck.
Exactly.
You've just summed it up the best, I reckon.
Yeah, you nailed that, Jacko. But also, people were saying that it's because the Eels are going good and the Tigers are going shit. Guess what? That was happening when he signed.
Yeah.
So, like, nothing's changed. Tigers were shit 12 months ago.
When he signed.
Tigers were shit 12 months ago. Parramatta were good 12 months ago. Guess what? They're still good. Tigers are still shit, respectfully. Yeah. Uncle Benji.
Hey.
Your best mate, Uncle Benj.
Uncle Benj.
But
Komatua Benji.
Yeah. If I was a player now in this day and age, because of my experience, and I'd give this advice to any player in a power position, because I actually couldn't anyway. Like, I wasn't that sort of player. Like, I wasn't a marquee signing, so I couldn't dictate terms for something like this. But if I was a guy like Isaiah Papalii or, you know, anyone in that sort of range where it does matter, man. So I'd have it a part of the contract. So.
Yeah, I think clauses are going to be a big part of contracts very soon. You hear about Suoli's one where each year he can dip each year he can dip out if he wants to as well.
So, and you know why?
Because he's elite. Because he's elite.
Sonny sort of pioneered those contracts.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a year-to-year operator because
he's elite.
He's elite. Yeah. So.
I'm signing 3 years, man.
Yeah.
I can't get behind
the other signing news, we'll move on to it. Sam Verrills, I love it for the Titans. It's been probably the worst kept secret that
never was.
That Verrills was eventually going to move on from the Roosters. Titans were always front runners due to their lack of options up there at the moment, even highlighted even more by Aaron Booth going down, which is sad. We talked about it as well. He seems to be a very well-respected guy.
Yeah, whenever you see Instagram posts and a lot of people will start to reshare that, you can sort of see that within the rugby league community. He means something to a lot of people as well. So, like, a lot of the boys are getting around him. Must be a fucking solid dude.
Yeah.
He's a nice player, Booth.
No, yeah, he's all right. Yeah, he's a toiler. He does crack. Verrills, though, he's a gun.
Bit of
Bit about
silk.
him.
I like Verrills. I really like Verrills. I think he's going to be one of those guys that for the Titans, I think having the confidence of sort of going up there and, you know, potentially being the guy rolling off the back of a big pack. Boost, stand and deliver. Aaron Clark has well and truly been suited to the 13 role. I think
14A.
Verrills, just his sharpness around the ruck, getting out, using those big boys. I think he'll really suit the Titans. You got Fozzie there, obviously going to be playing in the 6. If me mate doesn't pull a Papalii and fucking backflip as well, hopefully he backflips as well. Goes back down, I'm only kidding. Yeah,
No, you're not.
No, I would love him. I just love to see him stay in there.
Fozzie's last game needs to be running out at 4 points skip.
Fucking oath. And
Tight hips. Just
Tight
getting
hips.
about.
Yeah. He's had a kind of a warm up. One of those ones.
He's got to the 20 minute and he's just got him warm.
he's walking back at the post, like just Ches is saying something. He's like nodding his head but not listening.
He sticks the tongue out, skip, and
Yeah. We got distracted there. But Verrills to the Titans with Fozzie going up there. I like it, man. Titans are fucking going to bring me back.
losing your boy Ice, you don't mind it?
Yeah, obviously got fucking Hickey Cheese rocking up soon as well. So
Connor
obviously,
off the pine.
Yeah, Connor off the pine. They're starting the way that the Roosters are starting to play now, where it's just to him and through him. I just think it suits Cheese to a T, and he's got a big running game and a good passing game. But yeah, Verrill's been sick for especially past couple of weeks. He's been flying for the Roosters as well. Good signing. I associate
Grand final winner.
I associate
First try
his signing
scorer.
towards like Brayley going up to Newcastle, like just like that young talented guy that probably just needs his own team now.
Yep.
And obviously he knew that Cheese was coming along, so the writing's been on the wall for a little bit. But yeah, good signing from Titans, and I think it definitely makes him better. When you sign people, you want to make your team better, and he makes the Titans better. That's important.
always been their weakness, man. Because even with Aaron Clark when he was playing at 9, I always just didn't like. I was never really a proper fan of him at 9. I loved him more as a 14 to come on and play 9 and a pinch at 13. But he's even played so good at 13 that I'm like, fuck, now he's an out and out 13.
He's a 14 for me.
And the other big signing news, my boys losing the Elisi Katoa going to the Storm, which I think everyone
signing.
loved in terms of getting.
I think everyone is like unanimous in that the Storm are going to make him into a player. Right?
Yeah,
Agree,
of course they is.
agree.
He's got all the talent in the world. And the cool thing about Katoa, which you don't hear about a lot of, the Warriors produce a lot of flash in the pan forwards that come in with all the athletic ability and all the natural ability, and they kind of fizzle out. The thing you hear a lot about Katoa, or at least I did when he was first coming through, was that he works his fucking ass off.
You can see it.
And he loves to learn. So he was one of the people that was vocally the most excited about Sean signing. As excited as Reese was, Katoa was the one who was like, fucking here we go. Right edge is about to light on fire. Hasn't really got a crack, so he's going to kill it. He's going to kill it down there.
Yeah, I think the thing with Melbourne Storm like signing, obviously they take their time when they do sign someone like that. Like, and you plug him into a system where naturally he's athletic, too, he's got work ethic. It's just going to work out. And sometimes, respectfully to the Warriors, a lot of players get a lot better when they leave the Warriors as well. Yeah. Sometimes there's too much comforts, and I know they haven't been home in New Zealand, but I think certain players, once they leave, they get a lot better. And he's going to be, give me a year and a half, he's going to be really, really good.
I know
he's already good. Don't get me wrong, he's already good, but he's going to be like nice.
Physically, like I know this is
how big is
the
he,
biggest
Jacko?
praise. He's fucking big. I was going to say physically, like he has all the very raw skills that like Viliami Kikau had when he first came on the scene. I know Kikau exploded and obviously was in a much better system, but I don't see any reason why Katoa can't go down there and do his thing.
Not yeah.
He moves like ice, bro. He moves like ice Papalii.
That's a good example. He's a guy who left the Warriors system, went into a better system, and then now he's just.
Bro, you know who else he moves like? He moves like, and probably not as quick and as skillful.
Olakuatu?
Nah, fucking Nanai up in North Queensland.
Yeah, more Kaloa Matangi. Yeah, again, we're giving parallels with some very fucking good players. I think the
So what is he? 6'4", so $193. So
Yeah.
I'm 6'4". No, I'm not. I'm at 190. Yeah, 110 kilos.
You can hit a hole too.
Fuck yeah, he can hit a hole. That was the thing that stood out the most, and that's why to bring out the best. And you know what? It's a need for the Storm too. They're losing Kenny, they're losing Felice, they've got Tarek Sims coming down, and I really like the young back row. Is it Liero?
Yeah,
Trent Liero.
I like Alec McDonald, the old socks down, rough as guts.
Is he Kiwi, Alec McDonald?
I hope so, bro.
Yeah.
Socks down.
If he's not from fucking Palmerston North, I'm not here.
Oi, Katoa, he's going to be in the back row, and he's
I'm not here.
I'm not here if he's fucking not from
Jeez, you can
bumps.
play this kid.
Sione Katoa. Oh, it's just Sione Katoa. Alessi Katoa. He's going to look to the right. He might have fucking Cameron Munster there. Look to the left and have Justin Olam. So, and then probably Pappy running out the back of him.
Yeah.
so I think he's going to be all right.
He's going
He's going to be great. I think,
He's going to be all right.
Yeah, it's funny, man, how the Warriors let these go. It's a mix. It's almost the ultimate. Warriors always let fucking guns go. Like guys that develop and go to a club, and you're going to the best club at nurturing and bringing, like, developing talent, maximising potential and talent.
Fucking oath.
Alec McDonald, born Auckland, New Zealand.
Auckland.
Nickname? The Chin.
Oh, the chin. Fuck, it is massive, bro. He looks like...
He's got a fucking crimson chin on him.
He's got a bit of Brent... Remember Brent Todd?
Yeah, Toddy.
Yeah, one of the great Kiwi greats.
One of the great...
Google Brent Todd for a giggle. He's a thinner Brent Todd.
Did you see that interview he done when he signed with the Gold Coast Seagulls back in the day? Is he the guy? And he goes, I just come up here, so fuck a little...
He was one of the favourites on... remember with...
Lion Red Sports Show?
Yeah, Game of Two Halves.
Game of Two Halves.
Game of Two Halves. Sports Cafe and shit. Yeah. Anyway, got lost down there. Shout out to the Chin.
Do you know who would kill it on shows like that? The Hello Sports Boys.
Oh, bro. They would absolutely fucking annihilate something like that.
Mark Ellis was grouse and fresh up in the deep end. You just watch that?
Mark Ellis and...
He's a fucking elite. Matty Ridge.
Matty Ridge.
Yeah.
They're
the dream combo.
But Mark Ellis was the king. Mark Ellis was fucking so funny.
One of the great entrepreneurs as well.
Ellis, is he? Yeah, he is. Ellis and Ridgie up against Hindy and Fletcher.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Any day of the week.
Don't sleep on Fletch, man.
Nah, Fletcher's fucking...
Fletcher's actually, yeah.
You give him a decent sidekick, and that's respectfully to Hindy.
Nah, you need Hindy there because he's just like... He gets,
he's the punching bag.
Yeah, he's the punching bag. He's the perfect punching bag as well. Do you know what? Fletcher's clever. He's a clever dude.
I'm taking
Fletcher's
Reggie
all time.
Yeah, I'll take Reggie and Mark Ellis.
Yeah. Mark Ellis it's basically Mark Ellis against Fletch. And
Nah, Reggie's got a bit about him.
Yeah. Could Mark Ellis and Fletch work together?
Nah, they're both too funny. Both too talented.
Yeah.
You need the punching bag.
It's like the Hamish and Andy, Like Hamish is the guy and Andy just steers it.
Laughing Samoans is a good little segue as well. You know, there's Tofinga, he's the funny one, and the other dude just sets him up as well. So you always need that last sort of balance, I reckon.
It's called grouse and a few reds, boys. All right, let's roll on to... speaking of the... Josh Papalii. This is Josh Papalii, not Isaiah. Papalii, we kind of haven't spoken about it. It was a little while ago now, but he has officially declared for Samoa.
Yep,
at the World
this time
Cup.
last week, just after we finished the show. Yep.
So I was keen to get your boys' thoughts on this, and more so just a wider look at, are we seeing a bit of a Tonga circa 2014 push here? And if Papalii goes, could you see more going, Skip?
Is Papalii the Fafita, the experienced guy that was probably going to play Australia that moves over first? Is that who we're seeing here?
Yep. I think he is. I think more will follow. He needs to find his Tomalolo.
Yeah, who's the JT though? That's the question.
Tino Fasua Malawi.
Nah.
Tino,
I think it's Junior Paulo.
Ooh.
Yeah. If he can get Junior on board, and Junior comes over, because Junior's like, for me, he's the exact
Was it Payne Haas?
Or either. Or both.
Fuck, Samoa is stacked.
Or both, and then Tino at the 13.
Ooh. Bro, there goes the...
Jeremiah and Nanai on the edge.
What are they paying?
There goes the entire Australian pack and their bench.
I think Nanai would have been in that Aussie team as well. So
Nanai's Saar too?
Nanai Saar, yeah.
Don't sleep on Joseph Suolai.
Ooh.
At the one, Skip.
Something brewing there in Samoa.
Give us a quick rundown of the backline that you'd go off the top of your head.
Joseph Suolai at fullback. The two Penrith wingers or you could go Noffa at a pinch. Pick your poison. Definitely Toto. Whether you want May or Nofaluma. Noffa might get it through experience and playing for SAR for a long time. Then you've got the Penrith centres, Isaac Tunglong.
I'll go Taylor May.
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm not gonna debate you on that. Crichton and Tunglong.
Oh, so they're
in the centres. Yep. Jerome Luai at 6 or 7, depending on where you play. Milf. Dill Brown would have been the big one. If Dill Brown had played them, their team is fucking elite. But Dill's, I spoke to Dad about it because I just wanted to confirm. Once you declare for Kiwis in the same year, so that rules out Ice Papalii, Dill Brown, Ronaldo Mulatalo, all those guys.
Good
are
for New Zealand.
For the Kiwis. Good for the Kiwis. They're the biggest winners out of this, by the way. And then you roll into the pack. It's basically the Australian pack. Fuck, you'd probably have Junior Paulo and Payne Haas. Maybe... the 9 is an interesting...
Because
Farmanu Brown.
Yeah, I like him.
from the Tigers.
Jazzy would have been a nice little 14 in there to wonder.
Jazzy's unfortunately got surgery.
Yeah, I saw that.
Season, yeah.
Fuck,
Jeremiah
that sucks.
Nanai, one back row. Maybe a guy like Jaden Sewer, the other back rower. Tino Fasua Malaawi at lock.
What?
And then you've got whoever you didn't pick in the front row out of Polo. Josh Papalii and Payne Haas. Like one of them's got to miss out in the starting
What the
lineup.
fuck? A Samoa sweet? Bro, they got the best side ever.
No wonder
That'd
Joey
beat
and
Tonga.
Matty wanted to coach him.
Yeah, that'd beat Tonga.
And Sonny.
I reckon that'd beat Tonga.
Yeah, on paper, I like their team just better because Jerome Luai. Like they've got the most established half. I think he'd be the difference, but there's some good players. Like with as good as Katoni is as a centre, he's still like a little bit raw in that game. I think Tonga will build into the World Cup. Like I said after that.
Yeah, they get better over time.
They'll have Tui Lolohea back in the half.
He's slaying. He's slaying over in the Super League.
Yeah,
and he knows how to
Katoni
play
back
with
to
those
the
boys.
centres, I'd say.
and normally you wouldn't take too much into that, but they've shown in the past that players have come back. Our boy Benny Mudders Marcilla come back from playing at fucking Warrington and did a number and played well.
Got himself a contract.
Oh, big time. No, actually, he was playing at Salford, he was, and then got a big contract at Warrington after that and ended up coming back to the wire. So, there's some Islander boys over in the Super League that go good that'll come back into calculations. But I think the biggest winners out of this, if Josh Papalii, and I think he even said there was a part of the article was that he told Mel that there could be more to follow.
So I think you're right. And
Josh is Cook Island too. You can come play for the Cookies if you want to, brother.
Sawali, Haas and Tino are the big ones. If they were to get two out of those...
Nanai's a big one.
Nanai, if they were to get two out of those four, I think that would be a red hot chance, Samoa.
And the thing is too, this is the way the Islander boys work too. Like if you get two of them, there's a good chance you're going to get four.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Yeah. FOMO, they're going to miss out on the away trips. And
You start hitting him with the oos.
Yeah.
Like first text oos. Get him with the Samoan thing straight off the...
Hey, what's up, Mozo? Straight on the phone.
Sup, oos. And then you start just playing like Samoan songs in the background, get the anthem going in, like Samoa Tulai, Masisia,
Yeah, that'd be... and it's just like, it'd be appealing to me too if I had Samoan heritage. Like, you'd be looking at that squad going...
You don't want to miss out on it,
This could be like Tonga from fucking that World Cup ago.
yeah.
Like, all those fucking red flags and like, fuck, do I want to miss that? Because if you're a guy like Jeremiah Nanai and Joseph Suwali, because apparently I've been saying Suwali's name wrong. I've been saying like Papalii. So I'm going back to the original. Sorry for that. I just didn't want to keep getting it wrong. If you get those two guys and they're going to back themselves to play for Australia again in the future, which I guarantee they will, and they're allowed to because you just got to nominate it at the start of the year.
The beauties of that Tier 2 system, which I know cops a lot of criticism, the beauty is that these boys can all go play for Samoa at the World Cup, and it doesn't mean that
they can't play for
Kangaroos next year.
So,
but what else is there to play for? Like for Australia now, besides World Cups, like you know what I mean. That's the only appealing part about international rugby league for Australia, where when you're Samoan and Tongan, you can play each other every single year, and there's that natural rivalry there between the boys as well. So like, there's not like really four nations or stuff anymore. That's sort of that exciting, and that only happens every couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Fuck a good Samoan team, man.
I know Tonga started the trend, but this could be the start of something really great for international rugby league, especially if Samoa go as well. And then Kiwis are in a really good spot now where we've got a good chance to win. Because you're looking at the Australian side, you're like, fuck, who's their pack? They're still going to have a nice pack, don't get me wrong. Guys like Latrell and probably if Suwali goes, there's guys like Addo and Guns that are just going to walk back.
Well, they probably would have started anyway over Joey. So that's the thing. That's what would be appealing to Joey. Like you've got Fox. Despite what happened
who
at
starts
Origin,
over? Well, you wouldn't pick Suwali starting winger for Australia right now.
No,
I don't think.
I'd pick Fox. Pick Fox. If they've got a full strength lineup, I'd go Teddy. Let's take Turbo out of it because Turbo's
gone. He's not playing.
No, he could. Apparently, he's 50-50. If he played finals, they were going to consider him. But if I was Manly, I wouldn't have him. So I'd have...
Well, if he's not playing finals, he shouldn't be playing World Cup, I reckon. I know he's good enough too, but like I think Manly were going to go, nah, come here.
Yeah, I don't want him to play either. So I'm not talking about him. I'm putting him out. He said, I'm Kiwis. He's out, right? So Latrell centers would probably either Gags or Val. Yep. I reckon he because it's Mal, I reckon they'll pick Gags and they'll put Val on the wing with Josh Adokar.
Yeah, so do I agree.
What?
Yeah.
Suwali, best wing in the comp right now. Not even biased. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. I'm with you, Skip.
All right, let's put a wager on it. See if he plays. Oh no, we don't know if he's going or not.
That's pool all over again. Put a grand on it. All right, let's roll on. Shout out to NRL Roasty. Skip.
One of the greats.
Roasty chucked up an interesting post that I thought I'd get your guys' thoughts on before we rip into all the previous stuff. Scope, he has put up the NRL buy of the year, which is always a fun sort of water cooler chat. Yeah. The ones he tossed up was obviously Adam Reynolds, Chad Townsend, Matty Burton, and Nico Hines. What do you think?
Want me to go first? Because I commented on it actually on the page, so people might be aware of where I went.
You go. Skip.
And I reckon you might be the same with me. I'm going Chad Townsend.
Agree.
To get the Cowboys from second last to second with relatively the same squad, apart from him and my son Petahiku. That was my actual comment. And then they got Luciano around the trade deadline window as well. But at that stage, they were still second, and they only really pulled the trigger on that because Hylam Lukey got injured, and they went and made that move a couple of weeks later. But they're all gone. Fuck, they've all had a massive impact on their team. Even Burton now, it took him a while to gel and get into that squad, but he would have the Dogs fans excited. Obviously, Nico Hines.
Sharks were already nice.
Nico Hines is not only buy of the season. He's, like Jacko mentioned upstairs, he'd be, did you mention?
Sorry? He's in running for Dally M.
He'd be close to Dally M contention. And obviously, Adam Reynolds brought out all that potential that we had seen in the Broncos for fucking the last 2 years of all this talent that they had in there, and he's just really, they're a rough couple of weeks, but really
hard part about
those guys in. So
hard part about Reynolds is he's kind of been in and out through his groin injuries or little injuries. So I reckon if you put together a full body of work of a season, I'd go Adam Reynolds, but I'm with Skip. I'm going Townsend. Funny thing about Townsend, if he was still at the Sharks, he'd be playing for Newtown Jets, which is crazy. He wouldn't get in over Moiser and Nico Hines. So for him to go up to Cowboys, and I know he went to the Warriors and all that sort of stuff, to turn that side into basically we all agreed on the wooden spoon team.
Yep.
And he's going to push them towards a final series. How deep they go, that's up to them, but definitely the buy of the year. Burton's exciting.
Yeah.
He's probably got the most ceiling and the most upside. And if he can take the Bulldogs to premiership over the next 3 years, that's pushing it. But
the funny thing is, too, the Chad, he could be the lowest. I reckon maybe
would you pick him last out of these guys?
No, the Dally M points. Yeah, Dally M points. There's a good chance he could be last out of all four, but I think he's had the biggest impact.
Yeah, that's a good take. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. If I had those four guys, I'd probably sign respectfully. I'd sign Townsend last.
Yeah, 100%.
Would you go Burton, Hines, Reynolds, Townsend?
Last year,
would you go Hines, Burton?
Because of age, Reynolds and Chad stay down there, and I'm taking age into consideration.
I go Burton.
I probably would have gone Burton, Hines, Reynolds, Townsend.
Yeah, I think for me, Nico's been the buy of the year for me. I just like I said, I've been on the Sharks all year. I think they're a chance. I check the tape. I've got it too. You know I do. I think the Sharks, I've said they're the smoky preseason, Skip. I still think they're the smoky. I watched him beat my boys at Shark Park with 11 men. He's
that has nothing to do with Hines and all to do with the Wilds.
I've seen him in the flesh doing his thing. I just think he makes their attack. And I think he's brought out the most in Moiser as well. I think Moiser's career was probably he'd probably admit, was at a bit of a crossroads this year.
Yep.
I think Nico going there has brought the best in him. I just think he's made the entire Sharks play a way more attractive style of footy. And I didn't ever see him as a genuine 7. I don't know what I saw Nico as. I just thought he was a gun. But he looks like a proper genuine 7 in the same sort of Jerome Hughes mold where it doesn't look like
a 7.
Townsend and Reynolds sort of 7 play, but he's a fucking 7. And I just think Nico's had an unreal.
The only reason I docked Hines a couple of points is because McInnes and Finucane in the pack as well. I think they really
they recruited really well as a whole.
They really, as a combination, if you would put the group together, so you got Reynolds and Capewell, you got Townsend, Petahiku, and then Luch if you want to in a pinch, and then you got Burton, Fox. All four of these clubs have done a really good jobs at their buys. Hines, Finucane, probably as a whole, because probably still in Cowboys.
Hines and Nakora would be nice anyway.
And Nakora?
Brenton?
Yeah. But he wasn't a buy.
Oh, no, sorry.
I'm talking about buys as a group. So Hines, Finucane.
Yeah, it was one of the great recruiting classes.
Yeah. Fuck, that was outstanding work. And then also, people chucked in Craig Fitzgibbon as by the year too. Tossed him up, which is not a bad shout.
All right, Skip, let's get into it. 0-8. Well deserved.
And see, you're one of the reasons.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
So Skip's
anytime.
I'm the only reason because I gave you an opportunity to do this segment.
So there's 3 reasons, and I highlighted them before.
What, Skip?
In my little video, Life of Skip, we talked about my anytime jam.
Surely one.
Chasing the Grateful Eight.
One.
First and foremost, I put it in the Scopes Punters Club. Said that on the video.
Poison
for whatever reason, it's poison for the Skip. I'm the skipper of the Scopes Punters Club, but I just can't get the jam in there. And because that's highlighted, because what?
Nathan Ironmarsh, too nice as a leader. Not getting it done.
Because there was a couple of plays. Yeah, so that I put it in the Scopes Punters Club. Secondly, and I apologise for this. I went a few other try scorers away for the first time. I got a little bit too lovely because I killed it the week before. I was like, where can I find some jam that people wouldn't expect to think, Skip's the fucking grouse, like Skip's the man. And I'm like, yeah, this one's a little bit left of centre. When there were clearly for myself, when I had a little pump myself, I had a little look at the Prez. I had a little look at fucking Charmit. That's it. They were obvious. They were there to be seen. I even had a little lick at Josh Papalii, believe it or not. I got him first try scorer, and I'm just looking. As soon as when I seen Papalii score, I went, yeah. I try to be way too lovely, and I shouldn't have bet because I haven't been doing it. I've just been back in the same bets that I've been betting that I've been putting on with us at Top Sport. And the last and the most important one, I said you've got to get rid of the cooler. And the fake gratefulness that's coming and the negative energy that comes from the left-hand side of this desk on a weekly occasion.
Don't blame me.
He come and asked me on Thursday, he goes, Skip, who are we going? The first time he's ever jumped on. I sent him the list, and that's what made me bet on other players. I thought, Ice is a fucking cooler, man. Like this negative energy.
No, I'm not.
You would gladly lose $100 on a multi for me to go down and get a duck egg. Yes, you would. Admit it.
No.
He happily lost $80 at pool just so he could break me mentally.
Yes. That's the type of person.
No, I'm not.
So apologies. Ice is 1/3 to blame. Me also backing other players. Trial Mint. Come on. Prez. That was a gimme. But apologies. But guess what? When I went 6 from 8, the next week I went 1 or 2 from 8.
Don't talk it up now.
Then I had the 7
or 8. No one's listening.
Yes, they are.
No one's listening.
Yes, they are.
Read
the room. Read the comments, baby. Read the comments. They're waiting for the Skip this week because they know he's a bounce back sort of guy. It's like when you take unders, you take that payout at Parramatta. What's Skip going to do the next year? Oh shit, he's gone all the way to the GF, baby. Just short.
The excuses are paying $1.10 today.
I scored 10 tries that year too.
Get the receipts out.
All right, guys. In terms of excuses, I know Scope's got plenty, but you shouldn't have an excuse for having long pubes. Manscaped is the sponsor of the show. You guys already know. Use my code ICE for 20% off and free shipping. Jump on Manscaped, manscaped.com and get 20% off anything of their products online. Preview time. Jacko, let's go.
Week 22, Thursday night footy. Skip, let's start with you over here. Game of the round. Penrith Panthers taking on the Melbourne Storm. Obviously, the Panthers are losing their halves, but they looked not to really miss a beat last week. We've got 4.5 as the line, -4.5 for the Panthers, and the over-under is 40.5.
Do you know what's frustrating about these games? They're never in full strength during the year.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Fucking torture.
Yeah, it's annoying.
We said it last year, and it's the same as this year.
You go, bro.
Yeah, so did you mention the outs? Fisher Harris is suspended. Kickout comes back on the extended bench. Yep. Jerome Hughes is injured. Meaney and Olam return. I wrote down just off the back of the Raiders game, just our boy Teriyaki Salmon, the system, the belief.
The system.
Panthers are just clinical at the moment. Raiders were one of my better bets, and again, off the anytime jam, it just hasn't been happening for me. But
I jumped on the Raiders too. I thought they were a red hot chance.
Yeah. I think this is the Melbourne's best back five for me. I wrote down minus Pappy.
Yep.
So I love obviously you got the wing combination of Xavier Coates and Noffa. I love the way that Marion Sever is starting to develop. I spoke to Munster in the preseason about him. They had high hopes for him. They had said he had a really big preseason.
Yep.
A little bit of chopping and changing at the start of the year, and wasn't sort of locked in. But he looks like he's cemented that spot. He's got that fucking. He's almost got like an Olam-like build. Really low centre, low to the ground.
Not saying he's I'm certainly not saying he's better than Olam, but he seems to move a little bit more fluidly.
I feel like he makes more breaks from the midfield.
He does, yeah. he seems like more of a one-on-one, take it to the house type of guy, whereas obviously Olam can fucking steamroll.
Yeah, because Olam wants to run over you.
Yeah.
And Sever's got a little bit of footwork highlighted by that move that he had against the Rabbitohs. That's what's stuck in your mind, off the scrum.
He can fuck up a 2-on-1.
Yeah, he can. and he can.
Oh, fuck yeah, he can.
And he can strip a defence to where the fucking Penrith Panthers could have a two-man overlap as well.
It's kind of like Isaac Lumilumi, like he makes the hard look easy and the easy look hard sometimes.
That right edge has always had dramas as well. One thing, and shout out to him as well. Shout out to Cooper Johns, who again, we'll get to Jakey Arthur in 2 games as well, who I was pumped to see him have a big game. Cooper Johns he was under the pump after having a game that he would like to forget against the Panthers at Magic Round, where Viliami kick-out did an absolute number on him. He would have hated seeing Viliami in the 22 this week, because I feel like if they're naming him the 22, there's a good chance he's playing. But he did a good job of getting his body in front of David Fifita on the weekend.
Do you know the hard thing about those guys like Cooper Johns, Brad Arthur? Because your dad's someone in the game, and you look at Sean O'Sullivan as well. His dad's like a manager in the game. Your back's against the wall already.
Yeah,
like people kind of want you to fail.
They do. They want you to fail, bro. So
because they feel like you've got a head start or a way in as well. So shout out to Cooper for fucking doing a thing last week.
Yeah, I thought he played well. He didn't try to overplay his hands. Prez was having a day out. Just keep feeding him for Skip's anytime jam. Everything for me says Fisher Harris, leader of the pack, the Prince, but I'm not. I think Storm are going to win this, but I'm not confident, man. You look at Isaiah Yao again.
I reckon if they had a Jerome Hughes in there and Munster goes back to fullback and they can sort of have that same setup. I'm looking at the Melbourne side now. They're starting to get some troops back, which definitely helped them. I think Xavier Coates getting a run in pretty early as well. They're still a little bit light in my opinion, but they're looking a little bit better as a team as a whole as well. So I think it's going to be a good game, especially for a Thursday nighter. I think it's going to be good, but hopefully maybe Prez might be the difference.
I think Cheese and Harry. I've been waiting for Cheese and Harry to have that game of last year. They had a couple of moments last year, even at the start of the year.
Of this year, they were nice. Yeah.
But obviously, there's been a bit of disruption. Harry missed some games through Origin. Cheese had the suspension. I'm waiting for welcome to the party, sort of fucking we're ready for finals footy performance. Double, because I said, chalk and cheese, Harry and Cheese together, their combination when they're flowing, their big boys are flowing. It gets Nelson with some quick play the balls, or he develops them for him and they fly off the back of him. But Penrith, man, fuck.
Yeah, like you said, their system.
Yeah.
They believe in their system so much. It doesn't really matter who you plug in. And over time, you want classy players there to get you through big moments. That's what Nathan Clare and Jerome do. They're accustomed to big moments and saying the right things in those moments as well. But if the system's solid, if it's really good, you just plug people in and it just works. And you need wholeheartedly belief in everyone. And there's different types of systems. Like Manly's system back in the day is all the boys could go out and have a beer together. Yeah. Not probably the greatest system but if everyone believes in it, it works. Now these guys have built success over a long time through juniors, and these are 2 very systematic teams as well. So it's going to be a battle of the systems.
Wouldn't mind having a little play on the Storm early and then just hope and praying to the fucking betting gods that Viliami Kickout doesn't play. Because if Kickout doesn't play with Fisher Harris, surely the Storm can jag it at 250. Prez has. You're still not confident, yeah. I'll
be staying right away from this game.
Yeah, I'd be going Penrith, but I'll be staying
Xavier Coates any time and maybe Taylor May.
Yeah.
That's a little crossover. Win some money there for you.
Shout out to SOS. All right, let's roll on. Back to Mount Smart Stadium again for I think this is the last installment or second last installment of the home tour for the boys. The Warriors are taking on the Canterbury Bulldogs. 240 for my boys Skip, not bad. The line is 4 points and the over-under is 46.5. What do you like here?
Yeah, overs, wouldn't you?
Mount Smart games, man, they always seem to be ugly encounters.
And the Bulldogs have gone over a week early too.
Yeah, I love that. I did love that. I love that seeing the team together. That's what
Carraz is enjoying himself over there. He's he's been very
Angus Steakhousey?
very steakhousey, very croissanty. Yeah.
Oh, he's chucking him up on the stories, is he?
Yeah, he's enjoying himself, Carraz.
Yeah, nice. The Warriors lineup, so much better this week than it was last week. Putting Egan back to 9, that was a G up that they played him. I'd said in the lead up to that show, I had a feeling the Rabbitohs were going to put a number on them, and the Warriors have been putting their hands up. Someone threw in the fucking white towel after fucking 10 minutes in that game.
It with the selections. Yeah.
Oh, and yeah. But this team gives them the best opportunity. DJ Narcy, again, it was quite some conflicted comments coming out of Stacey about, I don't want to build for next year, I want to win now. Like, surely you've got to be thinking about next year and developing some of these younger players. Like, especially when you got them there available for the best possible lineup. I'm not talking about playing DJ Narcy over Shawnee or Reece Walsh, established guys, but play him over Wade Egan, who's been killing it at hooker. Leave Wade Egan at hooker. Our boy Mudders Curran comes into the starting lineup.
Criminal that he was ever on the bench, Skip. Criminal.
Yeah, I like Muddy. We obviously been on Mudders Curran for a while. Your boy Jack Murchie's fucking chipping in for a nice little fucking TA again.
Speaking of the chin, he's got himself a fucking jaw on him. The merch.
Big fucking slanty, he's got your body posture as well, Jacko, when you're sitting in the office.
Yeah.
Your boy Viliami
Vailea back in the series.
Yeah.
Him and Eddie Cossey. They're the two guys in the outside backs with a bit of coaching.
Yeah.
There's a little bit about them too. Like I said, Mutters Montoya, is he still on the bench with Dell? Tricky game for the Dogs, right? Because they've been playing really good footy.
Mm-hmm.
They fucking were really competitive against the Cowboys for 60 minutes, and then the class of the Cowboys showed out in the back end of that game. If they go for these sort of trick shots, not trick shots, but they're a team that like to throw the footy around now these days. Like that's been the highlight of the Dogs, you know, going from fucking scoring 12 points a game to fucking 24, averaging 24. That's obviously wrong, but it's around that. They're playing good footy now. Maybe their confidence is a little bit dented. Interesting to see how they bounce back. And then it's just like the Tigers last week against the Knights. I just don't like seeing these bad teams being favourites going away to a game that they should win. So I'm a little bit. Again, it's one of those tricky ones. I'm probably leaning wise with the start, to be fair, in this one.
Yeah, 4 points.
For me, I'm going for Bulldogs as well. I just think when I'm looking at the team, you're seeing the team that's like a lot more happier. I think there's little away trips sometimes, especially when you've been stuck in COVID for a bit. And to another country, the boys can go around and do different things. Teams start to organise team events and stuff like that. I just think they're starting to look like a really good side. And I don't think there's anyone, like I know I pick Suoliti as I'd pick him as my winger, but there's not more an influential winger than Josh Adokar in the game and for a club and for a culture and for a fan base. In terms of buys, he's been right up there for me in terms of marketing, but it just looks like he gives everyone confidence. And I think Matty Burton's just going to be the difference in this game here. I just think he's just a little bit better than everyone else on that field. And like you look at the Bulldogs, they're starting to look like a decent side. It's kind of like the Cowboys analogy where we used to look at them at the start of the year and like, oh, have they got some troops there? You get a jag a couple wins, your troops start to look a little bit nicer as well. So, yeah, doggies.
I think that edge against Dell and Montoya could have themselves a little field day. So if you wanted to have a flutter skip, it breaks my heart, but the Fox could get himself a little brace, I reckon.
Yeah, Fox is on the left. That's been a questionable edge for him, hasn't it?
Like, you've seen that game against Souths and they look like a team that's just rolled over.
Carraz has been going well, but they've been leaking points on that other side as well. So I wouldn't be partial to a fucking little bit of Eddie Cossey as well. In fact, that could be a little hint to where I'm leading anytime jam.
All right, let's roll on. Combank Stadium, big game. Parramatta taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Good game.
The Souths are favourites. The line is 4.5 there. Skip, the over or under is 46.5, and Big Tommy Burgess is back on the extended bench.
Yep, with a number. Hamed Ali comes back into the front row as well. He missed a few games. He's a very underrated player for him. Straight off the bat, Parramatta Eels, let's start on them. Shout out to Jakey Arthur. I was hoping he was going to have a big game. I knew Gutho was going to stand up and do his thing. Dill Brown.
He's superstar, bro. He's got X factor, bro.
Hey, we caught it. Bring up the receipts. Have a look at the film last week. We talked about bringing out the best in Dill Brown. Will he go to another level without Mitchy Moses where he gets to dictate? And then, yeah, I love seeing fucking Dill Brown want to be the guy. That left edge is really developing, nice little combination. Always had like a bit up and down Sean Lane in his career. Like he's had really good spurts and then he'd go and maybe have a dip and there'd be... Ice Papalii was playing left edge there at one point. Ryan Madison was on the right. But I think the combination of Maddo at lock, Sean Lane on the left and Ice Papalii is their best combination. I think they figured that out about 6 weeks ago. Still not completely sold on the Eels. I'm not like everyone else. I'm way more confident. I'm leaning towards Rabbitohs on this one. Because I think, one of the biggest things is matchups dictate fights. And Souths had the wood on para for a minute. So they just seem to be a team that, for whatever reason...
You like playing certain teams.
You like playing certain teams. You feel comfortable. It doesn't matter how stacked they are.
6 in a row or
Is
something.
it 6 in a row, is it? Is it that much?
That's anecdotal, but I believe that's the stat I saw,
Yeah, okay. Because I was thinking it's like, I know they did a number on them about 6 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure they tailed them up twice last year. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I think I'll double check.
Yeah, Isaac Thompson moves well for a big dude.
He does, yeah.
Bro, like agile, that's for a big dude.
Yeah, and I just think Latrell and the Rabbitohs, as well as they played last week, they were just second gear.
Yeah, agree.
Cruising. So I'm still pretty high in South, as you would be aware of now if you've been watching it for a minute. I think this is a little bit of a statement game. South's got a big run coming into the finals, and I think they really solidify their spot.
I think the Battle of the Sixes for me is the most exciting part in terms of headlines. Cody Walker, I think he's going to start coming into his... I know he's been going well at the moment, but sort of waiting for him to sort of tick over. But Dill Brown for me, like we said a little bit earlier, just out and out X Factor, put on a clinic against Manly last week as well. And the other one I like is Jai Arrow versus Isaiah Papalii, like just in terms of just... Not so much leaders of the pack, but I feel like they can have the most impact in different ways. Like Isaiah can do it through running and bumping people off and going down the blind side. For me, Jai Arrow is the leader of that pack in terms of effort, in terms of energy, in terms of, those out and out, they say like they call them like origin players. For me, he's that guy. And he's been one of the great signings that's been a little bit slept on for Souths for me. So I'm kind of like in the battle of the Sixes and the 12s. Cam Murray and Madison's pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, the whole back row. The skipper, Cam Murray, was fucking unreal to start that game. He really...
He got 3 try assists in 20 minutes.
The hardest thing sometimes
my
is...
My boys were struggling there.
Yeah. Well, you know what, too?
Get him down.
When a player like Cam Murray takes the initiative in a game like that, which has the ability to get really bit willy-nilly, and it sort of did a little bit, got a little bit clunky at the end, but they'd really done their damage. When you've got a player and a skipper like that, and guys like Cookie who go... You always want to go, when you play a team like the Wires and they're down the bottom and it could be a shit fight, you go, let's just go through these guys. And that's what Cam did. The back row, entire back row, 11 to 13 is fucking so tantalising. Lane will be on the same edge as Colomantungi. The 11s, Isaiah Papalii will be on the same edge as Jai Arrow. And then Ryan Madison, complete polar opposite to what Cam Murray is. He's got an offload. Actually, not complete opposites, but yeah, the back row. It's going to be a good matchup. And
Brycey Cartwright on the bench as well, so he comes on and plays that role.
Yeah, Brycey's only getting 5 or 10 of the best at the back end of the game, so he's not really influencing the game too much. The benches are really impressive though too. I think that Ofahiki Ogden, he comes over from the Dogs for his first game for Parramatta. I like Oregon Kaufusi, man.
Yeah,
I really like Oregon Kaufusi. I think you'll see the best of him next year. I reckon once he goes to the Sharks signed him. And I love
that's a good little pickup.
And then the ever experienced fucking, what do they call him? The new GOAT, Jeremy Lattimore, Mark Nichols. He's off the bench. Saliva Havili really offers some stuff. And David Mawala, he's got a real big future. I reckon he's going to be a gun. Yeah. He's still very fresh.
Great for a good Friday night game though.
Gun
down at the beachy.
Ooh. Straight into a bit of pool. All right.
Saturday. Yeah, so I'm leaning Rabbitohs. Yeah, I'm actually not leaning. I'm Rabbitohs in that game. Really excited. And again, Jakey Arthur. I just gave him a shout out at the start. 2 really crucial plays. The game was on the line. Manly had fucking won a bit of momentum back. Comes up with a couple of big plays. The play to go over the top to Saab, I love that.
Risky.
Exactly. Because if he doesn't, Subby's taking that to the house. Yeah. Like
he's a big.
It was
boy to get it over.
It was either they'll sell it fucking Manly behind the line or Parra behind the line, and I love that. Jakey, good kid, just happy for him. Shut up a few of the doubters, and Dill Brown, gun. Looking forward to this game, as you can tell.
All right, Saturday at the cricket ground, the worst place in the world to watch football, but they're taking on. It's a good game. So
give me a couple of weeks. We're in our new stadium soon, bro.
Exactly. So it's 3 weeks away, I think.
Yeah,
3 weeks? Around 25.
We're playing the Rabbitohs, bro. We should go.
Should be sick. Yeah, 100.
I'll text Nick.
Taking on the Cowboys. The line for this one, the Roosters are the favourites, is 3.5. The over or under is 44.5. Isaac John.
Is the line weird for you? Like, should Roosters be favourite right now? Skip?
No,
I reckon it's more. A pick'em game for me.
Yeah,
because of the Cowboys' form and the respect that they should.
165 for the Chookies. We're eighth. Yeah. We're eighth. They're second.
Yeah, but they're coming.
It more tells the momentum. Yeah, everyone can feel it.
I can feel it too.
I reckon it's more a pick 'em than a 3.5. I reckon 3.5 is too much.
It should be a good game. Hopefully it's dry so we can get the best of both sides. But loving the Roosters at the moment. Obviously watched their game last week. I think they figured it out. So one of the parts I loved about when they took on Penrith and Scope, we talked about this try, when they went through the middle, when it went Radley and everything went through the middle. I think that's how we're just playing. We've got the two best wingers combinations, in my opinion. Getting set started. He's going to run it hard. Tupou's going to run it hard. They're hard to get down from the ground. Joseph Manu, you can tell they're going through the middle because he's never on his right edge anymore. He's coming into the middle, taking up carries. We've got the best fullback in the comp, but I like our pack at the moment. It's just going forward. I think Matthew Lodge has been one of the great signings for the Roosters. I think he stiffens us up a bit as well. Jared's still the leader. And then you got Butcher, Crichton, and Victor Radley. And it's all just through you. It's going punch, 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 go through it, and a bit of class on the ends with the halves as well. So I like the way that we're trending. I text Scope after the $8 to win the comp, I think we were.
Yeah. I'll have a look at the market.
Unders. So, yeah, I love the way the Roosters are trending right now. I think they've just figured it out. Like Scope said a little bit earlier, where they start to feel like a little bit clunky in terms of their shift. But I think we just associate that with Cooper Cronk and Luke Carey and Tedesco back in the day. I'm not saying Sammy Walker can't do it, but we're just playing towards our strengths right at the moment. And it's fucking 2 and 3 year. We'll pump him.
This is a prove it game for me. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with the Roosters. And when Ice messaged me after the game, I went, I'm still not completely sold. I think that the part we talked about at the start of the show with Sammy Walker finding the right time to chip in and have those moments still gets a little bit of clunkiness, even when they shifted a couple of times. And very un-Roosters like, the ball just hit the deck on a shift. Like, they still haven't completely nailed it for me. And the team that has
the top four side,
the team that has impressed me is the Cowboys. And they haven't played the best of teams last couple of weeks, but for me, they've been really impressive wins because
we feel like we're waiting for them to dip, but they just never do.
It's the fashion that they won, Ice. So they played Dragons in a typical Dragons game. Dragons want to get down ugly.
Coming down.
It was a little bit wet. I think there might have been. If it wasn't wet, it was a bit windy when they played. It was physical, and then they just really kicked away. Then they play the high-flying Dogs in perfect conditions for the Dogs. The Dogs want to play footy. I know I was up at Bundaberg, which probably didn't suit the Dogs as well because it was a home game for the Cowboys, which we mentioned. But the Dogs get off to a lead. They're flying. Fox is fucking kissing the Bulldog fucking emblem. Matty Burton's laying it on, putting it on like on a dime for him. And I'm going, ooh, Dogs could have him here. All of a sudden, the fucking Cowboys go boom, boom, boom.
That's sign of a good team, mate.
Yeah, and then they do it relatively comfortable in the end. The Dogs ended up looking like the Dogs of 4 weeks ago, a little bit, questioning themselves. So really impressive wins for me for the Cowboys. But this is a prove-it game for, again, like you said, Ice, I'm just waiting for the Cowboys to fall off. So
just don't, bro. They don't.
If they knock Roosters off, because, again, when the Cowboys had a nice little start, I think they lost the Bulldogs first round and they might have had a couple of nice little wins and I'm like, oh, Cowboys are playing all right. And then Roosters went up there and towed them up at Townsville. The only team, I think, to beat them up at Townsville. This is a game. As Cowboys, again, this could just cement it for me because you want to finish second. You've got to finish away from the Panthers.
They need 2 home games, I think, if they're a chance of – if you think they're a chance of winning the comp, I think they need those 2 home games.
Well, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to beat Penrith, but
how about this for
if they can finish second and just not see them until the grand final, that'll do them a world of good. Just hope
Ashley Klein's coaching.
You just want to finish on the other side so you can hope that someone else, like something fucking weird happens and knocks out Penrith, yeah.
Ice, your boys are at $14 at the moment to win the comp. The Roosters,
7 to make the GF.
Make the GF. Yeah.
That's not too bad. Throw $100 on there. You got $700 on grand final night. Yeah. Long weekend. Have a bit of a giggle.
Save your cash.
I'm going Roosters. I'm going Roosters for sure.
I'm on the boys.
Roosters?
Plus 3.5, jam.
The Roosters, the boys.
Yeah, I like the Roosters in this one too.
How about them Cowboys?
All right, let's go Scully Park and Tamworth this one, Skip. The Tigers.
Scully Park?
That's a cool name.
Scully and Mulder.
They are taking on, the Tigers are taking on the Cronulla Sharks. Obviously, a few injuries to the Tigers with all the last week there was, but you're getting 13.5 as the start here. Cronulla are the favourites. The over or under is 43.5. Big Dale Finucane is obviously back in for the Sharks, Skip. That's the big in.
13.5. The Tigers' favourite trap. Told you. And back the Tigers when they're favourites. At this point where the Tigers are at the moment, before they get potentially Ice Papalii and Uppy Carousel next year, they really need to have both Hastings and Dewey playing. You can tell, it really freed up Dewey the last couple of games when he come and played 6 for him when Hastings was playing that roving role at lock, or whether he plays 7 or lock. Because who did they play there at lock on the weekend? It wasn't Ofuengawa. I think Ofuengawa was starting. Maybe Pollard started. Fanua Pollard started. So Ofuengawa probably would have still played lock, but it just took away that another element of a ball player, and they're playing pretty enterprising footy as well, the Tigers, over the last couple of weeks. But that's what happens when you make them favourites. They, for some reason, start to believe they're better than what they are, and they got dusted by the Knights in probably one of the lowest games of the season. Tigers have been in a couple of them this year. Tigers and Wales game was a low game. Tigers
that was the lowest game.
That was a low game, yeah. Well, they're both at Campbelltown too. Maybe that's a sign. Stop playing games at Campbelltown. Keep them. Go up to, what is it? What's the name of the park? Scully Park.
Yeah,
take them up to Scully Park. Play all your home games at Scully Park because you just play awful.
I think it's just one of those games where, like, you sort of know the Tigers aren't going to do too much, but then you're looking at, like, this is a good time. And I know they're already going to be in the finals for Cronulla, but you want to really start to build momentum. Kind of that 4 weeks out, you want sort of plays to be flowing. You want to build probably more so defensive, like a resilience as well. Like realistically, if Sharks are having a red hot crack, you let in 6 points from Tigers. Is that fair, Scope? You want to start building your defensive resolve now, don't you? And I know they've been pretty solid, but I think it is still like a bit of a yuck game to get involved with. But they're thinking finals.
You know why I think the Sharks will be sweet? I'm going to back Finucane being back, Craig Fitzgibbon, because last time they played the Tigers, I think they won by about 30 at the start of the year, but it was an ugly 30. Like they dropped, I think they were completing it like maybe 85, 90%. Leading up to the Tigers game, and they really took them for granted. And they, guys lost a little bit of confidence. It's been a bit quiet. It's Sifatalakai after Origin, man. I think he's had a bit of a dent on him, like his confidence after Origin, and he's still trying to find his way. I think obviously Trindle was nice last week. He was nice last week, and I think that's a sign. Again, we mentioned signings. I wrote down while I was watching this game, I was just like, Fitzy's just done a great job of getting this squad ready to play.
Squad's so important, bro. Yeah.
If you're a chance of winning a competition, you've got to have buy-in from not the starting 17, because you're not going to have the best 17 every week. You need a good core 23, and it's important that the 23rd player feels like he's a part of the team just as much as the number 1 player.
And you look at his number 22 here, Matt Ekavalu.
Yep.
You could plug that dude in right away, and he'd probably score a hat trick for you for a giggle.
Yeah, well, shout out to Lockie Miller back in the team as well. He was obviously the famous. The Aussie Sevens convert who came back a few weeks ago, played fullback. He was nice, so he comes in for Connor Tracy. But I like Lockie Miller, Skip.
Good take.
I like the way he comes in and moves around, man. He's jumped out dummy half a couple of times, bounced, shifted all the way to the other side. He gives you a different dynamic than what obviously a Sione Katoa or even a Connor Tracy, because Connor Tracy doesn't want to move around too much. He's straight up and down and tough. He just wants to get in and with Lockie Miller and even with, I told you a little bit about Kate Dykes. Fuck, he moves nice, eh? There's something there. There's a play there. They're really excited about what he could become. The Sharkies, I think they do a number on the Tigers in this one. I think it's
13.5 is kiddies.
I think it's a real clinic. And I really love the balance now of the bench of, like at the start of the year, they didn't have Wade, so therefore Teague was starting, but now having a back row on the bench and Teague Wilton, because then Wado shifts in the middle if need be. Cam McInnes can obviously, he's been playing in the middle, but he can, he started his career at 9. Aiden Tolman, the toiler. Andrew Fafita's playing really good footy of late.
Up the bopper.
Big bops, fucking skipping across field, throwing out the stiff arm for fun. Face planting people. They've got a really nice balanced team. Even Royce Hunt comes back into calculation. You mentioned Matic Ivalu. Sharkies, they're getting excited.
Yeah, I reckon.
They're getting excited in the Shire.
Yeah, they got a team there.
And for good reason.
One of my anytime favourites who has let me down a lot this year, but I'm backing him here as the West Auckland boy. I think Hamlin Ueli, Skip. I like him this year. I like him this week. I like the big fella.
I didn't know where you're going with that. Yeah. But yeah, he's playing good footy, man.
That's his best work at Scully Park.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Broncos taking on the Knights. It's the Saturday late game.
No, Raiders, Drakes.
Jumping onto the Raiders game first, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Me, you're right.
Yeah,
my bad.
Broncos, Knights. Big favourites, the Broncos here. It's $1.10. The line is 18.5. And the over or under they've got us at is 44.5. And shout out to Maida Martin back in the number one for the Brisbane Broncos.
We like that, eh? I like Tamari at the one as well for the Broncos. Like, I think if you go one by one, Tissinu kind of stands out like a little bit more individually, but I like him there.
Yeah, just his ability to strip. So one of the greatest strengths that we talked about, and I didn't really sort of realise it until I was watching the game on the weekend and how much we appreciated Adam Reynolds playing that 7 role. What he used to do was open up the footy for Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell when he was at South, right? When you think back to their best performances, Adam Reynolds is digging into the line, ripping it out the back, and Tamari Martin's really good at stripping the 3-on-2. He's going to make the right pass. And for at this point of his career, Tessie knew that's just not his strength. His strength is to run the ball. So when I think about, sorry mate, just getting a missed call. When I think about Tamari Martin at the back, I think that's something that they've really been lacking. Obviously, Selwyn Cobbo, still a little bit apprehensive on the weekend, sort of finding his feet, but I think
he'll find them.
Yeah, I think he'll find it straight away, and they find it in a big way against the Knights. I think this is a really good confidence builder again for the Broncos. A game for them to really, get their groove back, start going to finals. Think, obviously Flegler's been good for him. And shout out to Mudders Croaks. In the 13, getting the starting jersey. How good. He has a crack, Croaks.
Too much noise hanging around Newcastle at the moment. Don't like it as well. And when you're not a good side and you can't deal with that type of stuff, and you got a team like the Broncos ready to roll for the finals as well. But I'm with Skip. I like Tamari Martin back at the one. I think he balances their side out very well, and he creates that passing option. Corey Oates has had a fucking season and a half, hasn't he?
Got him chipped in for another double.
Back into the Origins. Like, he's a freak.
Yeah, he's always been a good winger. He's like pretty cruisy though. He's one of those country lads. He'll just rock up to training, do his thing, and he can come out and put on a clinic
another
when
guy
he wants to be.
Whose career was at a bit of a crossroads until, like we mentioned, Moisa, and they signed Nico.
Yeah.
Unlocks him. Like, his career was at a bit of was he playing back row, and then he was out of the 17 entirely. Once Adam Reynolds gets up there and the game opens up a little bit, he's gone to another level.
It's crazy what a happy changing room can do for a guy like that. So he's probably a guy that probably doesn't hang football up on a pedestal and like lives and breathes it. He's just good at it.
He said he made a conscious effort. I seen something at the start of the year where he made a conscious effort, like what was he going to make at the back end of his career? And he worked on his diet a bit. I think he's loves a beer. Put a couple away every now and again, but
loves going fishing and shit.
Yeah, so I think he's really made some sacrifices, and you can see it in his footy for sure. He's a gun. Fuck, he was hard to tackle. He's awful.
Keenan Palacia.
Keenan Palacia. I like him off the pine. Who else they got there extended?
Joey Jensen, Reece Kennedy, Jakey Turpin. Good see little Terps back in there. He always has a crack, eh?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
He started last week for Billy Walters.
He can get under the ball, Skip.
Apparently one of the greats off the field as well, too. Chico was saying. Loves a beer.
I'm a bigger fan now.
Yeah, Clem obviously goes back in the starting lineup, but you know what I like about? I could be in the moment. I'm definitely Knights fans aren't going to want to hear this, but I like the fact that the Knights and Titans are both, by the looks of it, this late in the season, they're going to stick by Adam O'Brien and Justin Holbrook. Because when you think about
he's lost me, O'Brien.
Yeah, I'm happy to give him one more year because in this day and age, whether it be NBA, NFL, any sports, like you're so quick to just coach, fuck him off, get rid of him. He's had a bad year. They were trending upwards. They've had a bad year. There's some changes need to be made. I reckon their middles were signed a couple of years ago with the way the game's gone away from some of their middles. They need to make some adjustments in the middle. But give Adam O'Brien one more year to see what it's like. And not again, but another guy is Justin Holbrook down at the Titans. Looks like they're going to stick with him.
Who would you rather out of them two boys? I'd go Holbrook.
Yeah.
You go Holbrook too?
O'Brien lost me with the...
He's lost his shit. He has well and truly. He's under the pump.
Nah, the one
and it's very hard to stick by coaches when they start saying willy-nilly shit like that.
And especially when they bring in like the CEO and he's like, he's sticking by me. Has that chat got out?
It's like getting bullied at school and taking your dad and
fuck my dad will drop you.
Yeah. One of those ones.
Yeah, he lost me off a couple of the stories that have been getting about it, whether true or not. Like if there's an element of truth into those.
I'm choosing to believe him, so he's lost me. And the thing that lost me was coming out saying I've been around grand finals, I know what it takes to win one. Assistant. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Skip?
I feel like Skip would say something like that. You know what I mean?
We've seen it. Like, it's one thing to see it. It's another thing to
you haven't played in a grand final?
Rather not play in one and lose one.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that.
Just emotionally scarred. You can't even watch it. All right. Yeah, Bronx. Yeah, we're going Bronx.
Bronx in a big one. Yep. 8.5 is a lot.
They're starting to get dangerous, bro. They're in the 7th spot. You know what I mean? They don't want to dip down like too far down.
True. But I just think this is...
I don't think 18 is tough enough because I just don't see points in Newcastle at the moment. As much as I love
8.5 is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot, I reckon. Who knows? Copper might fuck around and score 10 in the first 10.
Yeah.
Or 3 in the first 10.
All right, Sunday early game. Let's go down to GIO Stadium. Obviously, we spoke about it off the top of the show, but there's a lot of noise surrounding this game. They will have no coach. So Ricky Stuart, Tarpany is the big out for the Canberra Raiders.
Huge.
Line is 5.5. The Raiders are still favourites against the Dragons, and the over/under Skip 43.5.
Unders. I think, unders. Straight off the bat, 43. I don't think that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was flipped around, 34.5. Lowest game. This is going to be a low game.
It's a low Sunday, to be fair. Manly into Titans as well.
I think this will be a snooze fest with regards to like it'll be. And when I mean low, I mean like this is going to be physical. Like these boys aren't. Like, I'm not bagging the boys. They're going to be fucking bashing each other. These two teams. And the next game's going to be fucking throw the footy around and it's going to be a score fest. There you go. Look, over 49.5. Perfect. Tarps is a big out. So is Tarek Sims. Just got to get his timing right. He'll go down to Melbourne and kill it next year. Watch.
For good he's going there.
Yeah,
that's
Tarek's going to kill it there.
Katoa and Tarek on the edges.
Yeah,
I'd put Tarek straight in the middle. I think he'll move in towards that prop phase now.
Yeah, I agree because Cheese is going as well.
Yeah,
he's going to have the chin there.
Jesse Bromwich.
So. Yeah, the chin's coming off the pine still. Don't worry about the chin. He'll be thereabouts.
It's criminal that he's in the 18 jersey this week. I want to see that cut out there.
Yeah, Mactown.
Bellyache wouldn't know what he's doing.
It'll be a dogfight. It'll be ugly. It'll be ugly at times. They played this game about 4 weeks ago. Again, it was pretty scrappy. The weather conditions weren't great. It was that real windy game down at Illawarra, if you remember. Like it's fucking. They tossed the ball up and it ended up going over the line and coming back. And I think Telltale Moan got over for a rare piece of meat. Dragons somehow won that game when really the Raiders should have won. Based off that, I think Canberra can flip it, but 5.5 is still, I'm not sold on that. I'd probably be leaning towards the Dragons plus 5.5. And Benny Hunt is an interesting one for me with his contracts sort of been talked about recently.
What's been talked about it?
He's off contract after 2023.
So he can
negotiate in November. What sort of price are you paying for Benny Hunt? A 30...
He's same age.
Can you Google how old Benny Hunt is?
Younger than me. He's
32?
89. Yeah, he'd be 32.
32?
750, 800?
Career best form?
750, 800?
32, so he'll be 33 in March next year.
Bro, Titans should go...
So off contract, you'll be signing a 34-year-old halfback.
Oh, okay.
By the time you get into your club.
Interesting.
He cares about football.
He
Like
does.
he reminds me of Cherry Evans, where
Yeah, he is.
they do all the right things to contribute to winning every single week, so they can play like a little bit longer. Both those
And
guys
still good team players and love a beer.
Yep. And both those guys could probably play till 36, 37 easily. And like Benny Hunt's quite like athletically, like he's quite athletic as well.
he's
like
very athletic, yeah.
Yeah, he's strong. He's quick across the ground. So he's got some like legs in him. It just depends what club wants
He'll
to sign him, to
dictate
be
it,
fair.
It'd be because it's an interesting one because there are times where Dragons fans probably wouldn't have been happy with the pay packet. Like him and Normie in particular got questioned about how much they were on for a while there. So it's a delicate situation. You take age into consideration, but there'd be some teams that could fucking do with a Benny Hunt.
I don't remember that Benny Hunt missing much games of football too. Like
He seems to always be
yeah,
there.
same as Cheers. They always seem to be there. Cameron Smith.
Can I toss
they're
one up
always
that
there.
we haven't tossed up in about a month?
Don't say the Warriors too, mister.
No. In about a month worth of sports shows. What's to say? Would you like to see him up and finish his career with Wayne Bennett again at Redcliffe?
Him and depends. It all depends on Munster. Munster's the big one, but like him and
If
Milford.
they can't get
yeah.
Munster, what's the next best thing?
Scotty
I think,
Drinkwater.
I think a Ben Hunt for that. If you can get Ben Hunt for 2 years to Redcliffe to at least start your club in the right direction, because one
the
thing
Scott
about, if you
Prince, the Scott Prince of
Scott
Redcliffe.
Prince of the Gold Coast Titans. If you have a guy in Ben Hunt, you can get 2, maybe 3 years at a pinch out of him as a foundation member, as a leadership and tone setter. I don't know. And with Wayne, he's obviously has history with Wayne, with the GF and stuff like that.
He played his best footy under Wayne.
Played his best footy under Wayne.
Milford was there as well. That was his house partner.
So maybe he runs it back and winds back the clock. I don't know. I just think Redcliffe, if he's not going to be at the Dragons, unless he just takes unders and stays at the Dragons, but if he wants to get back up to Queensland, I'd like to see him with Wayne, and I think it'd be a good sign.
do I think he's a $1.2 million player right now? I do.
I do right now. Yep.
Yeah, but like he's probably got a same like Cherry Evans, where he sort of got to the point where he goes like, if I want to stay, like, and he's got Tommy Turbo and Jakey to think about as well. I'm not too sure if I'd give him over a mil. I think it's worth
The
it.
Dragons don't, from mine, Skip, the Dragons don't have a Jakey and Tommy to worry about as well. So what's to stop the Dragons just going,
They'd
they'd
ideally love to keep him and just getting the number right.
Yeah.
Getting the number right because it makes sense. Fucking Bud Tyrell Sloan's confidence is at an all-time low. He just didn't even want to get near the footy, bro. And I love Tyrell. I've seen on the extended bench, Cody Ramsey's in the 21 jersey. We've been high on the young guns of the Dragons, and I'm coaching's played a part in this. I reckon. I reckon there are a couple of guys. Obviously, you're not within the four walls, so you don't know what happens every day at training. But his confidence is shot. So he might even be one of those guys. He just re-signed. He could do with the fucking change of scenery as well.
They were
Bring out the best in him. A guy like Wayne would bring out the best in Slaney. For sure.
Very clear. All right, let's roll on. Finish the game. Sunday strong. It's going to be some points, Skip. Your boys, Manly, are taking on the Gold Coast Titans. Manly are the $1.47 favourites. The line is only 6.5 unders. And the over-under is 49.5, which is one of the higher ones I've seen in a minute. So we're expecting a fair few points up there at Seabus Super Stadium. Skip.
Yep.
Aaron Clark is in at hooker, obviously, with Boothie out. And Sexton is back on the extended bench, so still can't find his way in. So apparently they must still be resting him.
Nah, I reckon you'll find a way for Sexton to come back into 7. I'd move Tanner Boyd into to 9. Move Aaron Clark back into the lock position that he's been playing so well.
Where do you see Tanner Boyd's future?
Just a journeyman, fucking 14, like a Cade Cuss.
Cade Cuss, baby.
Like go over to Super League and put on the clinics.
Yeah, he could go over and kill Super League for sure. Not kill Super League, but go and do a good job. Come back. If you had him a part of the squad, like if Tanner Boyd was, if he was at the Roosters in the 21 jersey and then come and played half a dozen games, he'd look a lot better than obviously what he is. He's one of those guys. He has a crack. Sorry, this is just coming up. Use mobile data. I'll tell you what the best bet is. 2 fucking number 11s for Anytime Jam. David Fafita, Hamoli Alakwatu. You know where I want to see Fafita move? They tried it for one game, but they didn't practice it.
Centre.
I'd move Fafita to centre.
I reckon. No.
I'd move Fafita to centre.
That was a giggle after Talakai was killing it.
Yeah, but they remember they did it to him. Someone got injured and they tossed him there for a game. He got dusted maybe twice in that same game, but he would have done fuck all preparation. Who dusted him?
It wasn't Gags. It was a good centre. I remember it, yeah. Someone will tell us in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below, but
They threw him at centre and he got...
You got to find a way.
Scotty Drinkwater got around him off the scrum, didn't he?
It was the Cowboys.
Scotty
It
Drinkwater
was the
skimmed him
Cowboys.
twice,
Yeah. I'd like to see just have a crack at moving Fafita to...
I think the devil's advocate for that, Skip, is I think the biggest criticism of Fafita is that he doesn't involve himself a bit more. I think moving him out even wider.
What, saving a bit of energy?
Push him one wider. Get him on the steam.
There was honestly, the people that aren't familiar with Talakai, 2 years ago he was nearly out of the competition because he was, he wasn't the fittest. You come in, if he's taking those yardage carries like Talakai does and then putting a little bit of silk on the end, imagine him and Beau Fermor on the same edge. Geez, there'd be some anytime jam down that edge.
Yeah. Beau Fermor, he yet to develop the pass. He loves to tuck it under the wing and have a crack.
Yeah, you use him as the lead runner.
Yeah, right.
Run a lead line. I'm just trying to look for something outside of it because Philip Sammy, for me, is a better winger than he is. They've got something in Jojo Fafita.
Yeah, he's good,
nice.
bro.
He's going to be something. He's only 19 of the best. The ever-erratic fucking Paddy Herbert.
I love my guy, but...
Again, 21, yeah. Chuck him, Philip Sammy on the wing, chuck Big Dave Fafita out in the centres, but you got to practice at it. Like, it can't be done now. I'd have a crack at it in the preseason.
Marju back in the 14 as well.
Yep.
Nice to see him back.
Fuck, they got some guys who can carry a ball.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tip on
Imagine
him.
imagine Morgan Harper, because he's returned well from that Talakai. Imagine if he looked up and because those are the guys he struggles with. Talakai, Justin Olam, David Fafita.
Loki done a nice job on Joey Manu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Half locked
Just
him
the
up.
one.
Got him
Just the
once.
one,
Once
yeah.
enough. One's enough. But yeah, Manly should pump him, eh?
I reckon just
Titans are due for a win. They've lost 10 in a row. The more you lose, the closer you are to a win.
Manly, it's obviously Manly. It's that game. The big seven cost Manly
Jersey Gate.
Yeah, the Jersey Gate.
Is that what it's called? Is it?
I just decided it's called Jersey Gate.
You know, he had one of his better games. It's fucking Sabi on the weekend. Sabi has to look at Joseph Suwali. Sabi, because Sabi's got obviously he's one of the better, but that's what he needs to like. He did you watch a game on? Did you watch a game on the weekend
No,
where
but
he got in and had these sorts of carries that was Suwali like? If he's to do that on a regular basis, because he's just got to realise he's fucking a big body, man.
Huge.
Like the biggest concern, sometimes he fucking chucks that little fucking handbrake on when he takes those carries. If he was to rip in like fucking Joey is, because he's got it in him, like I've seen it for the first time against fucking Para. If he ripped in like that, man, Sabi could be like one of the better. What is he? How much is he weighing? I'm Googling this as we're going. 100 kilos, 1.99.
He'd be heavier. Do you reckon he looks heavier than 100?
He looks big. He looks bigger this year.
Because sometimes, like a lot of time of height, like it's like Kevin Durant. We're like, how heavy is he? We thought we were like 70. He's like 115 or something.
Big boy.
Sabi's just a nice kid. He's got like that. You need to get a bit of fucking derg about him. That's what he's missing. He's missing some Suwali derg.
Suwali's got that.
Suwali's got it, yeah. Sabi needs it. And that finished on the weekend. But Manly just went through a little spurt against Parramatta. Chez's long kicking game. He went for that 40-20 on the Gutherino. Gutho's seen that before. He's on the scouting report.
Yeah, he lives around there.
He knows his mate. He knows four points like the skip. So he wasn't going to let Chez put one behind his back. He's seen that too many times to get done like that. Scorefest. Ola Kawatu, Dave Feeder, Anytime Jam.
All right, cool. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys as always. Like, comment, and subscribe.